So after having my Apple Watch for a pretty long time, I finally decided to sell it and get rid of it. I want to talk to you kind of about what I didn't like about the Apple Watch. And again, just for transparency, it was in fact an original Apple Watch, not a Series 1 or 2, so it had the older processor. But I want to talk about kind of why I finally decided to get rid of it. In case you're considering buying one, then you can kind of consider some of these factors that I didn't like or found problematic. I think the first thing really comes down to somewhat of the form factor, but really the power. So again, it really wasn't powerful enough to replace my phone. I think one thing that I kind of hoped to get out of the Apple Watch when I first bought one was to basically use my phone less, to be less tethered to it, to be less connected to it, and to be checking it less, and to basically just use the Apple Watch as a tool to basically disconnect me a little bit. And that didn't really happen. I think that kind of has to do for a couple different reasons. Obviously, the original Apple Watch wasn't super powerful. Even the newest Apple Watches, although much more powerful than the original, aren't speed demons in their own right. So there's really no super great and killer applications for the Apple Watch. And in addition to that, the Apple Watch requires a connection to your iPhone for basically the majority of its tasks. So when you're tethered to your phone, and the watch is not faster than your phone, and there's no killer app for the watch, you end up just using the phone. And that's something that I ended up finding that, for example, one thing I thought I was going to be able to do was, hey, I'm going to call Uber from my watch, particularly when it's cold out. That way I don't have to take my hands out of my pockets to get my phone out and hold it out and be looking around for the car that's picking me up and not having to hold my phone while I'm doing that. Well, it turns out that the Apple Watch, at least the version I had, and I suspect that it's still a problem with the newest Apple Watches as well, it just wasn't fast enough. So the loading itself was slow on the watch that made it basically not usable. I still had to have my phone anyway so it could be connected. And even when it was loading, the connection, for example, the speed at which it was downloading, not just the speed at which the watch was processing, loading the app or whatever, was still a lot slower than my phone. So I found myself almost never using the watch to call an Uber. The second thing, of course, is even with no killer app, I think one thing that I thought would be really convenient is, hey, I get a notification, I can see a text message or an email, or I can see a text message or some other notification, and I can quickly respond on my watch, and that'll be super easy. Well, it turned out that wasn't super easy, and in almost every case when I was going to reply to a message, if I wasn't specifically trying to use my watch, I would just take out my phone anyway and respond. So again, kind of like the first point, these different tasks, the messaging, the using of killer apps, weren't things that were actually able to be implemented and to get me to stop using my phone and to use the watch. The third thing is certainly, a big personal thing, but instant access to my messages, like I said, getting a message right on my wrist and always being aware of it, or at least being much more aware than I was with my phone just in my pocket without a watch, ended up being for me more of a distraction than a time saver. So instead of basically being more disconnected because I'm not like digging deep into my phone, it turned out that every time I would get a text message, oh, bam, notification. I've now stopped paying attention to what I'm doing, losing a little bit of productivity, and now I feel the desire to respond immediately, even though maybe I can just be more productive and respond to messages in batches as opposed to always going to my phone to respond to every particular message at the second it comes in. So I ended up being more of a distraction and a time waster than a time saver. I think the last thing too, and obviously this last one isn't a big surprise, but when I was kind of contemplating, do I really need this, it was something that came up. But there's just not enough data. So it was really nice being able to see my steps, for example, and that they use some sort of algorithm to track your calories as well, and that I guess uses some function of the heart rate sensor and of your steps to come up with your calories, although I did read some studies that say, although the step counter is very good in Apple Watch, the calorie burn calculations are very poor, apparently. But that's not that much data, right? So I think there was always this idea that Apple Watch will be able to get so much information for you But there's not really that many monitors, and we see with, in the future, maybe there'll be a blood glucose monitor, and there was talk of a stress monitor, and all these different types of things that Apple Watch has the potential to do, and could possibly do in the future, but right now it does not do. And even, and in addition to that, it really can't track your sleep, which would be an ideal use case, but it can't really do that because it only has 1 day of battery life, so you're not going to wear it at night, because then you can't wear it when you leave your house the next day. So those are just some issues with the monitors. Some of these things I think can probably be remedied in the future. Maybe in the future you're able to get a much more powerful device that provides more screen real estate, so it actually is a lot easier to just draw, hello world on the display and convert that to text and send it. Maybe it'll be more powerful so you have killer features, and maybe there'll be more monitors so you get a lot more data from your watch. That kind of makes it more indispensable. And of course, in the future, I do expect this with the Apple Watch Series 3 actually to have built-in cellular connection, so you can actually untether from your phone, leave your phone somewhere else, either to work out or just because you don't want to carry your phone with you and use it as a better tool. But for now, those are kind of the reasons why I decided to get rid of my Apple Watch. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And please click subscribe if you haven't already, so all my videos come right to your YouTube homepage. I'm really curious to the people out there who have Apple Watches. Have you had any of these similar kind of concerns with your Apple Watch? Do you love it? Have you gotten rid of it for a different reason? I'd love to hear your comments on that. Maybe we can have a little bit of a dialogue in the comment section of this video. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.